Will email bounce if I send it to a closed account? Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for askleo.com. Here's the question. Will email that I send bounce back to me to let me know if the recipient's email address is closed or no longer exists? Or will it just go into outer space, never to be seen again? Unfortunately, the answer is both, neither, all of the above. It depends on so many different things that it is just one of those things that we can't say that email will definitely bounce. First of all, what's a bounce? A bounce is a message that you get in response to a message you've sent that says there was some kind of a problem delivering that message. So in an ideal world, you would expect if you send something to a closed account, you would get a response from that system saying, hey, this account is closed. That isn't guaranteed to happen. It just isn't. And here's the problem. What does it mean for an account to be closed? They could have simply stopped using it, in which case email will still be received. The account still exists. It's not really closed in the technical sense, even though the user might think of it as being closed. The user could have actually closed the account, but many email services or ISPs will actually keep the account active for a while in case the user changes their mind. And before you say, well, they should make up their mind, this happens so incredibly often, it makes a ton of sense for ISPs and email services to do exactly that. People absolutely do change their mind. Or the account existed, but is now closed for some other reason. It still exists, but it's no longer accessible to its former owner. The account no longer exists, or the account never existed. So when you might think of some of these states as being closed, the fact is none of them require that the system send a bounce message. Of the scenarios that I've just listed, the one that is most likely, but still not guaranteed, to send a bounce message back to you is if the account never existed. In other words, if you send it to a typo, if you make a typo in an email address for somebody and the actual email address that you specified never existed, that's probably going to get you a bounce. But again, it's not required, it's not guaranteed, as are most of those other scenarios. Now, why do they do this? Well, the issue actually turns out to be spam. Most ISPs tend to ignore email to closed accounts because so much of that email is spam. If they're sending out bounces for all of this spam, they're then creating more spam. And especially since spam is being sent from email addresses that have nothing to actually do with the spam itself, all of a sudden random people are getting bounces to emails that they didn't actually send. It gets very confusing very quickly, and therefore it just doesn't make sense for the ISPs to send a bounce on every message that's received to a closed account. So, what if you're on the other side of this? What if you want a bounce? You want to close your account, say, and ensure that somebody who emails you actually gets notified that the account no longer exists. Well, by now you understand you can't guarantee it. There's no way to know, no way to force a bounce message to your closed account. So what's the answer? Don't close the account. Instead, set up an automated response, an out-of-office message, or some other way of automating a response to the emails you get that tell people, hey, I'm not using this email address anymore. You can contact me over here instead. That is perhaps the one valid use of an out-of-office message. The point here, though, is that you will then be sending this out-of-office message to spammers as well, and that might then encourage them to continue to send more spam to this account that you're abandoning. The good news is that they rarely look at the content of the message that comes back, so they probably won't harvest your new email address. But even then, There are no guarantees. And ultimately, I think that's the bottom line that I want to leave you with here, is that when it comes to bounces, there are no guarantees. Whether the account is closed or in the process of being closed or has never actually existed, you may or may not get a bounce. It's not a reliable way to tell the state of any specific email address. Sorry. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/2870. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this is askleo.com. Thanks for watching.